Summary of Left to Tell by Immaculée Ilibagiza. Immaculée hears her killers calling her name and saying, "We know she's in here somewhere." They used to be her friends or live near her, so she knows them well. She holds the rosary that belonged to her father and asks God to keep her alive. The killers leave, but Immaculée will soon find out that even though she didn't die, she wasn't saved. Immaculée was born in the Kibai County town of Mataba. She was loved by her family, friends, and neighbors when she was a child. She didn't know there were different tribes, and she hadn't heard the words Tutsi or Hutu until she went to school. Leonard, Immaculée's father, was strong and looked out for her. Immaculée's mother, Rose, was active, hardworking, and caring. Both of them taught. Immaculée's family had 2 cars, so some people in her town called Leonard Muzungu, which means both white man and rich person. The family was very religious, and when Immaculée and her friend Jeanette were young, they talked to Father Clement, a priest, about becoming nuns. Amable was the oldest of Immaculée's 3 brothers. He was shy and liked to be alone. Damascene, her second oldest brother, was brilliant and naughty. He was best friends with Immaculée. Vianney, her little brother, was cute but annoying. Immaculée's teacher, Buhoro, told her off when she was in the 4th grade because she didn't know if she was Hutu or Tutsi. Even though Immaculée and her brothers were well schooled, they didn't know about the racial split in Rwanda and how German and Belgian colonialism caused it. Immaculée remembers when she was 3 years old and her family hid from Hutu extremists in the home of a Hutu friend named Ruthless. Immaculée didn't know what was going on at the time, but she knows now that extremists were killing Tutsis and setting fire to their houses. At age 15, Immaculée was the second best student in her class of 60. She wanted to go to college and become a pilot, professor, or psychologist. But she soon found out that she had not been chosen for a high school scholarship because she was Tutsi. Leonard sold 2 cows to pay for his daughter's high school fees so that she could still go. Immaculée worked hard and passed the test to get into the Lycée de Notre Dame d'Afrique, which is one of the best schools in Rwanda. Even though Immaculée loved the lycée, most of the people in the area hated Tutsis. In October 1990, Immaculée's last month at lycée, Tutsi fighters from Uganda cross the border and start fighting the Rwandan army. Soon after that, a local Hutu man tells Immaculée that he will kill her because of what your rebel brothers are doing. The government starts spreading false information about the Tutsis, calling them cockroaches. Immaculée finishes high school and gets a grant to go to the National University in Butare. She will be the first person in her family to go to college. Immaculée loves being a college student, and she starts dating another student called John. Leonard doesn't care that John is Hutu, but he does care that he isn't Catholic but Protestant. Immaculée starts to see the Interahamwe, the youth wing of President Habyarimana's political party, abuse and beat up Tutsis. The president makes a peace deal with the Tutsi rebels, but soon after, a colonel in the Rwandan military named Theoneste Begasora says he will bring an apocalypse to Rwanda. Immaculée goes home for Easter, but her family's holiday is ruined when Damascene tells them that the Interahamwe have grenades and a list of the Tutsi families in the area. Immaculée agrees with Damascene that they should run away. But Leonard says that their fear is making them act in a crazy way. That night, Damascene rushes into Immaculée's room to tell her that President Habyarimana has been killed. Immaculée's family hears on the radio that her uncle Twaza was one of many Tutsis killed in retaliation for the death of the president. The genocide has started in the morning of April 7, 1994. Agathue, the Prime Minister of Rwanda, is killed on the phone with the BBC. Rose starts to get their bags ready. That night, the family hears on the radio that 10 Belgian UN peacekeepers have been killed and that Westerners are leaving Rwanda. The Interahamwe start killing people in Immaculée's village in the morning. A lot of guys go to Immaculée's house to get help from Leonard. For a short time, the Interahamwe stay away because there are so many Tutsis. Damascene and Leonard make Immaculée go hide at Pastor Murinzi's house because it is too risky for a young woman to stay there. Immaculée says no at first, but in the end she agrees to go with Augustine, a family friend. Pastor Murinzi is also John's uncle, and Immaculée has known him since she was a child. Damascene comes to see Immaculée after she gets to the pastor's house. He tells her that their house has burned down. Leonard and Rose got away on a motorcycle, but he doesn't know where they went. Damascene says goodbye, then goes away. Later, Pastor Murinzi leads 5 more Tutsi women into the small bedroom where Immaculée is staying. On the same day, the killers pass by and yell, "Kill them all." The women hide in a crawl space, and when the killers leave, Pastor Murinzi says that they will need another plan because he is sure that the killers will keep coming back to search the house the next time. He tells Immaculée that hiding men is too dangerous for him, so Vianney and Augustine must leave. Immaculée shows the boys out and tries to reassure them that everything will be fine. Pastor Murinzi shows Immaculée and the other women a small bathroom where they must hide in complete quiet so that the pastor's own children don't even notice they are there. The oldest woman is 55 years old, and the baby is only 7 years old. Immaculée hears a mob of killers coming again, and she is shocked when she looks at the mob from the window and sees many of her friends, neighbors, and peers among them. Almost all of Immaculée's time is spent in prayer. Even though she is scared, God's love always makes her feel better. One day, she hears Simbiba, Pastor Murinzi's son, tell the pastor that he thinks it's good that Tutsis are being killed. Simbiba talks about the reports that his father is hiding Tutsis in the house. Pastor Murinzi sends Simbiba away in a rage, telling him that his mother was a Tutsi. Pastor Murinzi comes into the bathroom later, looking like he's been through a lot. He says that the whole country has been shut down and will stay that way until all Tutsis are dead. He tells the women that they might be the only Tutsis left alive in all of Rwanda. Immaculée is heartbroken, but when she hears on the BBC radio that the RPF, the Tutsi rebels, have arrived in Kigali, she feels a little bit of hope. A few days later, Pastor Murinzi comes in and calls Leonard a bad Tutsi, saying that he was helping the RPF plan to kill all Hutus and that Immaculée will be to blame if the women in the bathroom die. Immaculée says that the minister is just accepting propaganda out of ignorance. Immaculée asks Pastor Murinzi to lend her a Bible as he is leaving, and he accepts. She prays for 15 to 20 hours a day, and her bond with God keeps getting better. Pastor Murinzi tells the story of the women hiding in the bathroom to his 2 most trusted children, Lechem and Dusenge. Lechem and Dusenge are kind to the women and help bring them food and tea. Malaba and Solange, 2 more Tutsi women, will soon join the others in the bathroom. The women talk about how terrible things are outside. As time goes on, all 8 women get sick, lose weight, and get lice. Immaculée has a quick epiphany while listening to the radio. She chooses to learn English so that she can talk to Tutsis who speak English after the war. She also has a dream of working at the United Nations one day. Immaculée loves to study English every day. Pastor Murinzi gives her a book to help her. John goes to the pastor's house early in June. He had to leave Kigali when the RPF came. John and Immaculée hug in the bathroom. But John doesn't try to be nice to Immaculée, and after a while, she sees that they no longer love each other. Soon, there will be news that French troops are going to Rwanda and will set up camps for Tutsi refugees. One night, after everyone has gone to sleep, Pastor Murinzi sneaks the women into the main house and turns off the sound so they can watch a movie. One of the pastor's slaves sees the light from the TV and tells the killers that the stories are true. Pastor Murinzi is hiding Tutsis in his house. Immaculée's name is called out as the killers search the house. Immaculée prays hard, and the people who want to kill her leave. Early in July, another houseboy tries to get the small bathroom cleaned. He makes it clear that he thinks the women are hiding in there. Pastor Murinzi is able to talk to the French forces, and they agree to take the women in. The killers will come back the next day, so the preacher sneaks the women out at 2 a.m. with the help of his kids and John. The women are taken in by the French camp, where Immaculée runs into Jean-Baptiste and Jean-Paul, two old friends she hasn't seen in a long time. She finds out that everyone in her family has been killed except for Amable, who is in Senegal learning. Immaculée is soon taken to another French camp, where she meets her aunts Esperance and Jean. Immaculée gets a letter from Damascene before he died. Esperance gives it to her. The letter is smudged with tears and says, May 6, 1994. Damascene was writing it when she found out that Leonard, Rose, and Vianney had all died. Immaculée hears about Damascene's last days and how horrible they were. She also hears about how brave he was when he faced the people who killed him. When the troops find out that Immaculée speaks French well, they ask her to help them translate the stories of the Tutsi refugees, who mostly only speak Kinyarwanda. Soon, though, the French camp is broken up, and Immaculée and the other prisoners are taken halfway to an RPF camp by French forces. The rest of the way, they have to walk alone. When they get there, the RPF troops are doubtful that so many Tutsis could still be living. One of the troops, Basil, an old Hutu student of Rose's, recognizes Immaculée and confirms that she is Tutsi. This is a miracle. Immaculée and 11 other refugees end up in Kigali, where they stay with Aloise, a strong crippled woman who says Rose saved her life when she was young. Immaculée makes up her mind as soon as she gets to Kigali that she wants to work for the UN. She starts practicing her English right away to get ready. But they tell her there are no jobs and turn her away. She goes back to Butari, where the university has been wiped out. But she is able to find her letters, her medal, and the $30 she had saved from a grant. She goes back to the UN, where a nice man named Pierre Mayhew finally hires her. Soon, Immaculée will see her college friend Sarah again, and Sarah will offer that Immaculée move in with her. Immaculée is on board. She sends Amable a letter to tell him that their family is in trouble. Immaculée goes back to Mataba, where she finds the body of Damascene, which has been cut up. She takes Damascene's body and buries it with Rose's body at their family home, which has been destroyed. Immaculée goes back to Kigali, but when she dreams about her family, she decides to forgive the people who killed Rose and Damascene. In the epilogue, Immaculée says that she and Amable got back together at the end of 1995. He is a doctor now and lives with his wife and child in Kigali. Immaculée prays to God to send her a partner, a Catholic guy from anywhere in the world who will be her husband. Soon after that, she meets Brian Black, an American who is in Rwanda to set up the International Criminal Tribunal. 2 years later, they get married in a Rwandan rite that has been around for a long time. They move to the United States and have 2 kids, Nikisha and Brian Jr. Immaculée now works in New York City for the UN. In the end, she talks about the power of love and healing.
The author. Immaculée Ilibagiza was born in the small Rwandan town of Mataba. She grew up in a close-knit Roman Catholic family there. Ilibagiza did well in school and got into the prestigious Lycée de Notre Dame d'Afrique and a scholarship to the National University in Butari. During the Rwandan War of 1994, all but one of Ilibagiza's close family members were killed. This happened during her last year of school. She got away by hiding with a group of other Tutsi women in a bathroom. After the genocide, she went to work for the United Nations, where she met her husband, Brian Black. Black is an American who went to Rwanda with the UN to work on the International Criminal Tribunal, which brought the people responsible for the genocide to justice. Ilibagiza and her husband went to New York in 1998, where she kept working for the UN. She chose to tell her story in a book called Left to Tell. The book was a New York Times bestseller, and it helped her become a well-known speaker on faith and forgiveness. She is married and has 2 kids. She has also written 6 more books. She has also won a number of charitable awards and honorary doctorates.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.